So there's this girl I was going out with, right? A big event. We're going to like a nice party. She's just a friend. And she asked me, oh, do I look nice in this dress? She gave me a little twirl. We were on a call. She gave me like those little twirls. She's like, oh, how do I look in this dress? She's like, do I look fat? I'm like, so I looked at her. I'm like, yeah, honestly, it's not great. And she's like, oh, okay. She went back into the dressing room, changed. I knew she had like 40 dresses, but that was me. Right? I'm gonna be straightforward. That's not me anymore, right? I wouldn't do that, but I have a defense, right? I was bluntly honest. I think that's a super desirable trait in any person. Being able to see reality for how it is. Because how would most guys react in that situation? Oh, yeah, you look nice. You look so great. It looks perfect. Your girl is going to go out delusioned, thinking that she looks nice. And you know how their friends are too. Oh, girl, you look beautiful. You look amazing. You know, they're all like that. They're lying. Like they just say that to say that. It's all peer pressure. Right? So I thought to myself in that moment, I had the decision of saying, no, you look nice. I had that decision. But then I asked myself, why would I want to be with someone who can't accept reality? Right? And I've been criticized a lot for my honesty, especially from my mom. She's like, you know, you shouldn't be so straightforward. You shouldn't be so blunt. It's really not nice to have that. And she was doing it to the same response, right? She asked me if she looked nice in like a little dress. And I'm like, no, you have better dresses, not a great color. She told me that. I'm like, well, do you want to go out looking ugly? She didn't respond. But, you know, my thing is, you know how everybody says like the golden rule, right? Treat others how you want to be treated. You've heard it since elementary school, heard it since middle school, heard from your parents, right? Everybody says that. So if you want to be treated well, right, treat others well. And let me be clear, you can still be bluntly honest without being a dick. Because the way I acted, I'll be honest, it was a dick. Dick move. Not good. But the reason for acting like that was that it saved everyone's time. Right? This girl's not going to go out thinking, oh yeah, I look amazing. I'll give you an example, right? Me and PJ make YouTube videos. So we're making these videos. We're like, okay, you know, you edit your part, I'll edit my part. We'll talk about it after. And so now I could look at his part and say, oh, yeah, like it's nice. Like it's doing good editing, like all that. And mind you, I'll tell you exactly at the end how exactly to be honest, right? How to be nice in these scenarios. Or I could just be straight up with him and save both of our times. Right? I could tell him, you know, this editing right here was not good. You know, I think we should have added a stronger hook. You know, I don't think you said this with enough energy. This edit was a little messed up. You know, I think we messed up the script here. It's just straightforward honesty. And that's what I guarantee people have said our quality has risen so much, even though we've only made like 11 videos. It's because of that. Me and PJ are both radically honest with each other. He's a little nicer, I think, but you have this level of understanding where we know, okay, this other person is able to improve on this. Let me just tell them. We're both benefiting. We both save each other's time. My thing is, that's how I want to be treated, right? They say the golden rule, right? That's how I want to be treated. I want the truth. I want honesty, don't you? Do you want someone to be disillusioned telling you, oh yeah, you look nice, you look great. But like it just does not. The color scheme doesn't fit your skin. You know, your skin's all messed up, right? You have some acne, you didn't even like get your hair right. Oh yeah, you look great. Do you want to live like that? So I realized nature is neutral. Right? If I go to a tree, this wall right here, this wall doesn't have any thoughts of right or wrong. This wall can't tell me, oh yeah, liberals are right, or yeah, Republicans are right. It just sees what is. I can't assign a bad or a good. It just sees, okay, you're wearing clothes. That is purity, right? The reason I'm able to assign a bad or a good to the way you dress or the way you look is because I have experiences. Right? I'm not a parsimonious or non-negotiating creature. I can see what you're wearing, and from experience I can tell, okay, this does not look great. Now, if a stylist says you look great, you know, disregard what I said. Right? If a stylist is like, oh wow, you nice color scheme, everything looks nice. I'm not a stylist. Of course, he's probably right. But to that wall, you're just wearing clothes. If the wall could see. So the reason I mention this is because a lot of people have identity when they try to be honest. And this is, again, this is a different type of honesty. This is not the honesty I'm saying like, oh yeah, be honest with each other, you know, tell everybody the truth. That's not the type of honesty. We kind of interpret everything through our ego. So it's like, how can I change this world, this external world around me, to best feed on my beliefs, to make it how I want it to be? I think I mentioned this in the previous video, right? I used to watch these videos of like, oh, approaching women on streets. And it's like, oh, they're all for the streets. And I used to think, oh, all beautiful women are like horrible. Right? And then I told a story of like how I met this one girl at Chipotle. It was absolutely beautiful, but she was so nice. Really nice person. And those people aren't shown on YouTube. Right? And that's because my external world was made by the algorithm. The algorithm wanted me to see the world like that because that's the stuff I watched, that's the stuff I liked, that's the stuff I gave attention, right? I don't blame the algorithm. It's because that's the stuff I watched. And then I started watching nicer people content. And then I started getting these people who are very nice. They do good things, right? Helping each other out, engineering feats. I said, yo, the world is amazing. The way we see the world is the way it'll become. Right? Again, as we get older, we start building this identity, this ego. And, you know, this could lead to great outcomes, right? Some people have an ego like, oh, I'm going to build this gigantic company. I'm going to make $4 million a year, right? It could lead to big things, right? Think of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs wanted to create the biggest company in the world. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to create, I don't know, whatever, best computer in the world that's going to be on every table. He did it, right? Look, there's a computer on every table. There's a computer right beside me, right? You probably have one on your table. Or it could lead to complete delusion. Think Hitler. Oh, the German Reich needs to win again. The Germans need to take over everything. Kind of worked. Killed a lot of people in the process. He had a big ego. He had a big dream. He saw the world how he wanted to. Through his identity. I'll give you another example of identity. One of my friends, he's another guy on this channel, Cam. He got injured badly in his hip playing football. And, you know, recently it's been like 2 years, I think, or 1 year since he's like been in rehabilitation, trying to fix it. He's gotten much better since then, I think. He's able to walk better, you know, he's just doing well. And that's great, you know, he's recovered. But now he's trying to go back into track. But every time he goes, and I've been seeing this, or at least I saw this like a few months ago, he goes and then he gets like injured again. He comes in, oh, you know, my hamstring's a little hurt. He rests and then he goes again and he gets injured. He's like, keep on trying that. And I thought, you know, maybe you're a competitive athlete, right? That's kind of your identity. You're like this guy who wants to win in track, who wants to become a good athlete, you know, do good and all that stuff. And you got injured, right? Think of, this is like the story of Bruce Lee. You need to accept that being an athlete, that competitive athlete, is no longer your whole identity. And for you, this might be completely different. Right? Like, for example, if you play games a lot, like, gamer is not your identity. The only reason you call it that is because you game a lot. Now, I think identity is like the strongest belief you can have, right? This is why I always set myself up with positive identities. I always say, oh, I'm a rational optimist. Oh, I'm a hard worker. Why would you not want to have those beliefs? Right? But if you tell yourself, oh, I'm a gamer, right? Oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that. At some point, they negatively serve you. And even my beliefs at some point may negatively serve me. Right? If I keep on calling myself fit, at some point I would sacrifice other parts of my life just so that I can be fit. And if I haven't worked out in a while and, you know, things catching up, maybe I have to do a little more work on the business, or, you know, I have a relationship, I have to spend more time with her. But I'm like, no, but I'm a fit person, right? I have to work out. Start sacrificing time with the other person. Start sacrificing time on the business just so that I can fit into my identity if I'm fit. So you see where this is going? I want to change the external world based on what I believe. It's the same for a lot of other things. So going back to Cam, it's like, he's probably done this very well, but it's like you're no longer a competitive athlete, neither can you be. Right? And that's just seeing the truth. It's not the identity itself that's wrong. It's saying, look, it's not about competitive athletes, it's not about any of that. It's about saying, You got injured, you can no longer compete in athletics. Maybe that's not who you were. Right? Think Bruce Lee, right? He used to be a competitive athlete. Now he's injured and he became a philosopher. He combined those two. Right? Very cool venture. Very cool guy. Brought discipline to philosophy, all that, right? Very interesting. And so it's kind of like the story of someone who identifies as a liberal, right? Politically. I'm not very political. But let's say someone identifies as a liberal. And the reason they do that is because like 7 out of 10 of their beliefs line up. You know, they think we need green energy, you know, we don't need oil. Or they think, oh, you know, I don't know, women should have rights, all that. But then there's also like those 3 out of 10 beliefs that you don't really align yourself to, but you kind of have to start believing because you've already set yourself the identity of I'm a liberal. So maybe someone says, oh, you know, we need to take down all these nuclear farms because they're bad for the environment. You're like, no, but that's good economically, right? But then they ask you, aren't you a liberal? You're like, yeah. So you have to believe it even if you truly don't. You see where this is going? The best thing you can do in this situation is first, shed your identity. Shed any identity you have right now. Right? And this identity could be, you know, I am a student. This identity could be, you know, I am fit. Because at some point, even though right now they might serve you well, they might serve you in a negative way. So instead of saying I'm a fit person, just say I work out. Right? Because you do. That's the truth. That's how the wall would see it. Right? Just think, how would the wall see it? The wall sees, okay, he works out every day. Does that make him fit? Not necessarily. Right? But he does work out. If you see, you know, oh, he studies every day, right? He does all that. He's not a hard worker, he just studies every day. But at some point, that hard work may lead you into a negative hole. So that's how it should be. Identity is kind of fluid. Right? It's fluid in the manner that, not that it can change all the time, but it's like that argument of if you keep on adding sand to a pile in your hand, at what point does it become a mountain? Right? Is it that one extra addition of sand speck that makes it a mountain? It's like, if you don't work out for the next week, are you no longer fit? These identities aren't clear to us, so you need to shed them. And as for radical honesty, right, the thing I mentioned at the start, this type of honesty is best achieved when one is able to look at a situation and say, okay, you're asking me if you look, I'll go back to that, if I look nice, right? You're asking me if you look nice. I don't think you do. I do think that dress is nice, but not for this situation right now. That's the best thing you can do. Say, okay, she asked you, how do I look, right? And you honestly don't like it. You're like, oh yeah, like the dress is really nice, but I don't think it right now it's the right situation. Maybe try a different one. That's probably the best we can go about it. That's how I've been doing it now. And it's kind of like the best solution to this for me is also just give like a compliment. So it's kind of like a sandwich, right? Think of this like the compliment sandwich. Give them a compliment and then tell them what you think you don't like. So here, I'll give you an example. Oh, that dress is super nice, but you know, I do think it's not for the right occasion, but you know, it does really fit you well. But maybe you should try out something different. But that color is really nice. That's a sandwich, right? Compliment, be honest with them, compliment. Right? That's a sandwich. That's the best way you can go about telling someone the truth. So you can still be radically honest, like I said, without being a dick. And that's the best way to go about it. So definitely start practicing that and shed your identity to be more honest, to be more real with people. And those two go hand in hand. And if you're able to get both of them, I have massive respect, because even my identities, I still have some of them that I have to shed. But I think this is a long process. You need to first identify what your identities are in the first place, which is, what do you call yourself? What do you do every day that you call yourself? Then just say you're no longer those identities, but you still do the habits. And then just start being more honest with people. It will be a skill that comes over time, but you should be able to figure it out very quickly. And it's a very valuable skill. Saves everyone time. So yeah, good luck.